Hi everybody, good morning. Welcome to our Claude Power Hour. I usually do this as a Claude Happy Hour, but it's a little bit early, but if you want to have a drink, go ahead as well. My name is Thiago Ferreira, and as you can probably guess from the name, I'm from Brazil. Usually most people can guess right away. And the name of my company is Elevate AI Consulting. We do a few different things. On one hand, we do a lot of events like this, corporate trainings, AI boot camps is actually like the #1 thing that we do. And then we also do custom development and strategy and answer engine optimization for companies. And I'm also a professor at the University of Miami, go Canes, where I teach a course that's called Human-Centered AI for All, which is actually a course that I designed because I realized that most of the AI courses in these schools were totally focused on people that want to be developers or already technology majors. And I was thinking, where's the AI course for the humanities major, for the business major, for the history major? At the end of the day, we're all going to be needing to use AI, and not all of us need to be coders, right? And so please connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll have a QR code at the end as well. I post a lot of educational content, and today we are going to be talking about Claude, as you know. So real quick, by just a show of hands, who is already using Claude? Okay, awesome. So most people, I did hear there's going to be a few beginners as well. So yeah, exactly. So we're going to go through some of the basics. I want to make sure that you see where all the proper settings are so that you can get the best results every single time without having to repeat. And at the end, I'm going to show you how to build your own custom Claude skills as well, so that anytime that you get something that you do all the time and you get a really good result, you can tell Claude, hey, turn this into a skill, so that Claude will do it for you every time. And I have some examples here that I'm going to show you, but hopefully that sparks your imagination and creativity as far as other things that you can build very easily with Claude as well. So just as a way of introduction, right? What is Claude? As you know, it is built by a French company called Anthropic, and they've been all over the news lately, not just because Claude is an awesome tool, but they've also gotten in some hot water with the government and the Pentagon. And that's because Claude is built by what they call their constitutional AI principles. So different from some of these other tools, it is by design made to be helpful, harmless, and honest. And so that's why they've gotten in some trouble with the Pentagon that was starting to use it to make weapons and do some other questionable things with it. They've decided to pull out of that deal, and ChatGPT slip right in there in their place, right? And so that's what's going on there in the politics world. It's way more than a chatbot. It is really meant to be a true thought partner, helping you write, analyze, summarize, research, code, develop, and do a lot of your work for you, and reasoning through complex problems. It is meant to be steerable by design, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can set its personality, its tone, and its behavior overall. And it's available everywhere, on your phone, on the desktop app, which, by the way, it's how I recommend you use it if you're using it on your computer, not just going to the Claude AI website, but actually download the desktop app, which is way more powerful. But it's also available in Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint and many other different ways to use it, which we'll talk about as well. So one of the reasons that I think Claude really stands out is that you can have really, really long chats with it, and it can actually analyze really long documents in full context as well. I don't know if any of you, when you've been using ChatGPT, you've been having a long chat with it for a while, and then it'll tell you, there's something like start a whole new chat and lose all that context. You get to chat with Claude. #1, because your token context, which is equals to roughly 500 pages of text in a single conversation. And it also has the capability to, within its own chat, summarize the conversation for itself. It calls it truncating the conversation, and let you keep going with it. So it's really unlikely that you ever reach the end of a chat with it and have to start over. And it also has this extended thinking mode. So it reasons through complex problems step by step, and it's not just pattern matching for the answer like many of the other tools are. And that's where people really start to see that the quality of the answers are so much better than ChatGPT or some of the other tools, because it is actually reasoning through it and actually using that. is using multiple agents to find that answer for you and then just give you and synthesize it together and give you that response. So it has really, really strong document analysis. So that means for your business, you can upload full contracts, financials, and reports. And Claude is actually processing those full documents for you, not just the short summary that it picks up from it. And I had this problem actually a few months ago when I was working with ChatGPT. It was actually with another consultant that I was working with. And I uploaded that contract that I had with this other consultant in the beginning of the ChatGPT had completely forgotten the context of the contract. It was nice. And it's very unlikely that that will happen with Claude exactly because of that 200,000 token context that he has. It is built again with that privacy first architecture. So if you're on a team plan or a business plan, by default, they're not using your data and your company data to train their new models. And if you are on a private account, you can go to the settings and actually turn that off as well to make sure all your information stays private. And as those of you that are already using it have probably noticed, it really excels at writing. Just the quality of the writing and the responses that you get are so much better, much more nuanced, and it's really excels at tasks that actually require careful judgments and reasoning. So some things that you need to know about privacy, right? As I mentioned before, if you're in a company, a corporate or a team plan, you are protected by default. It is not using the company data to train its models. If you're on your personal account, you can go to settings and privacy and turn that off. It'll be an option there that says, it sounds almost cute, like, oh, help everyone by helping train other models, right? What that means is they're using your data to gather more data and train their future Claude models. So turn that off. You're not a charity, right? You're paying for the service. You don't need to be helping them with anything. Golden rule, not just with Claude, but with everything else. Truly sensitive data, you should not be uploading that. So social security numbers, passwords, bank details. As you can see, as I'm going to show you, Claude Cowork can take over your Chrome browser, for example, and browse the web for you. You should not be letting it browse the web into your bank and do stuff for you, okay? And that's with Claude and with every other company. We need to trust these companies to a limit, right? And we need to protect ourselves as well. And by default, as you probably noticed as well, if you started using it, it doesn't browse the web. It only uses what you give it. So you actually have to go to your settings and enable web browsing if you wanted to do that. And it most likely will ask you, on the first few times that you use it, hey, can I use the web for this? And you can click allow it always, or allow just this time, or ask me permission every time. Claude is really good at actually asking you permission before it does a lot of things, which is great. So let's take a quick look at the Claude interface and some of the main things that I want you to be aware of. So right away, you'll notice it looks very familiar, right? It looks just like ChatGPT or Perplexity or any of these other tools. Here, when you press the plus sign, is where you'll be able to enable web search or not. You can also directly from here select the tone or style that you want it to reply to you with. Here, you'll also be able to select your connectors, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So all the different tools that you use on the day-to-day basis that you want Claude to have access to. And here's where also you're going to be able to enable skills like some of the ones that we're going to build today. Yes? Claude? For you? Yeah, and can we give out the password for the Wi-Fi here for these folks? The name of the network? Members only. I'll give you guys a second to connect. Here is also where you'll be able to attach files or photos. So this is, again, very similar to a ChatGPT or another tool that you may already be using. Something that is different here about Claude is you're going to see that you can select different models here, right? And actually this model called Opus 4.7 just came out, I think Wednesday night, yesterday morning. And this is important to know because as many of you have probably noticed, Claude is actually kind of stingy with your usage limits. It is very easy on that $20 a month plan to reach the limit of what you can do very quickly. And that's one of the biggest surprises that people have with Claude when they're coming from ChatGPT or another tool that doesn't limit you so much. And so making sure that you're choosing the right model for what you're doing will help you avoid reaching those limits so fast. So if you're doing, like it says here, for the most capable and ambitious work, when you really needed to reason through different things, create complex documents for you, make deep analysis, that's for sure the model that you want to use, but just know that that's going to use the most of your usage limits. So for your everyday tasks, the general questions that you're asking, and just more things that don't really need to be reasoned through, just go ahead and select the model Sonnet, which is actually just their previous model that was the most advanced one up until just Wednesday, right? And so it's extremely efficient, extremely good, and it will consume way less of your credits. And those credits really go fast, especially if you're using Claude Cowork, which we'll talk about in a little bit. It's a task or two that you ask it to do, and it'll tell you, come back in 4 hours when we reset your limits, right? And so for me personally, I'm using it all the time, all day long. I'm paying for the $100 a month plan, and I'm considering actually upgrading to the $200 a month plan because those credits go really fast. So that's one thing that most people are surprised when they switch to Claude, is just how quick that usage limit actually goes. And let me show you exactly where you can see that. So 3 things that I want us to see in our Claude settings that are really important. So I'm going to click here. You guys are not going to be able to see it there. I'm going to click here and just go to the Claude settings. And when I click here on general, you're going to see that there are some settings right away that you want to make sure are in there. So Claude works for you the way that you want. So first things first, give it your name. You can be just your first name, whatever you're comfortable with. If you have a nickname that you prefer for people to call you by, you can put it here as well. What do you want Claude to call you? So I have a friend that likes for his AI to call him daddy. And so that's what he put there, right? No judgment here. Whatever you want it, you can put it. It's okay. There is a drop down where it's going to ask you what best describes your work. And there's some pre-selected options there. And more importantly, you're going to see here, what personal preferences should Claude consider in your responses? And that's where you want to tell a little bit about yourself, right? As you guys probably already know, prompting is the most important skill in AI, and you want to give it context and feedback about who you are and what you do. And so you don't have to be repeating yourself all the time. You can just put a little bit about your preferences and about yourself right here, and Claude will always remember that. So for me, as you can see, I'm an AI consultant. I focus on AI training, answer engine optimization, and custom development. My company is Elevate AI Consulting. I am not a coder, but I use many AI tools to code, design, write, and overall manage my business and deliver solutions. And this is the part that everybody usually likes. I tell Claude, tell it like it is. Don't sugarcoat your responses. Don't be overly verbose, right? Because you guys know sometimes it just wants to give you way too much. I'm just like, just get to the answer, right? And everybody's favorite part, do not use em dash in your responses. So if you have that right there in your preferences, you no longer have to be going back and erasing all those em dashes like people do all the time. Just have it there. And anything else that's relevant to you, maybe you prefer a certain tone, maybe there's more things that you want Claude to know and do on a constant basis, that is right there in your settings, and you don't have to keep repeating yourself all the time. So this is a big one that everybody usually misses, but right away when you download it, if you have that set up correct, it'll save you a ton of time. The second thing that I want us to see here in our settings is the usage tab. And this is where you're going to see your usage limits depending on what plan you are. So as you can see, for the plan that I have, I had Claude Cowork already doing so many things for me this morning that I'm already at, okay, not bad, 18%, and it's going to reset for me in about 2 hours. So Claude has both daily limits and also weekly limits depending on how much you use it. So those daily ones, they'll actually be resetting every few hours. They reset every 4 hours or so, and they give you a little bit more. But you can use up your entire weekly limit and then have to wait a few days before you can use it again. So that's why it's important to make sure that you're choosing the right model, that you're not exhausting that usage so easily. And then the other thing that I wanted you to see is if you click on capabilities, this is where you can actually manage many different things. So number one, I would turn this on, search and reference chats. So Claude can reference different chats that you've had with it before. Otherwise, it's just going to be referencing that one chat that you're having with it. And if you wanted to generate memory and save things that you do with it over time and remember things, you have to enable that as well. The cool thing with Claude is that then once it has generated those memories, you've been working with it for a while, you can click here on memories from your chats, and you're going to see everything that Claude remembers about you. So this is what it knows about my work context, my personal context, what's usually top of mind for me right now, the things that I'm working on. And the cool thing is that you can click right here on the pencil and tell it to remember specific things or forget specific things, right? So let's say, for example, here, it says that one of my key collaborators is my friend, Dan Mowinski. If I'm no longer collaborating with Dan Mowinski, I can just come here and tell Claude, forget Dan. Screw Dan, right? Like an ex. Like the thing you can't do from your memory about your ex, you can do here in Claude, right? So if you break up with your significant other, you can say, forget that B, whatever, right? So, yeah, yes. Or, yeah, so you would go first to the ChatGPT settings, and you can ask to export your memories. And then you will be able to click here. There's a couple different ways to do it. And you'll be able to paste it. So here actually, Claude gives you a prompt that you can paste into ChatGPT to extract those memories. But you have to know that it's not great. Like they actually really limit what you can export out of ChatGPT or other tools. So copying this prompt, pasting it into ChatGPT, and then pasting the result here will bring the overall context and memories that ChatGPT has about you, but not really in detail, right? And so for me personally, what I've been doing since I switched from ChatGPT is, well, first off, I really just enjoyed starting fresh with Claude. I felt like I was working with ChatGPT already for so long that it was nice to have a fresh start, like you have sometimes with social media, right? You just erase all my posts and like you want to start over. But whenever there is a really important chat that I've been having with ChatGPT for a while, I usually just go there to that specific chat, I copy paste the whole thing, and then I paste it into Claude and I say, hey, this is my recent chat with ChatGPT about this, let's take it from here. You know, so it's not great the way that they've designed the memory transfer, but they're also competing with each other, right? They don't want you to actually switch over. So they don't make it very easy. So yes, so those are the three main settings that I want you to be aware of, and do pay attention to the usage, especially if you're just on that free plan or the $20 a month plan, because you're gonna get there like really fast. Yes, yeah. Yeah, so for the everyday stuff, just the chatting, you wanted to look up something on Google for you, or even just do some simple research, I would just stick with the Sonnet model. Like I said, this was their best model up until 2 days ago, so it works great. Now, when you're doing like Claude Cowork, you want it to be taking over your computer, organizing files for you, synthesizing information, then I would give a try the most recent model, the newest one. But just know that it's going to burn through your credits faster. So it just depends on what kind of work that you do and how much you need to actually reason through different problems or not. So Haiku, if you just want, like, if you're doing something that's like a quick Google search, you just wanted to look up something quick for you, yeah, use Haiku. It'll give you a fast answer and it will use way less credits. Right? So you can think about it as a scale or like steps, right? Quick answers, and just like it describes here, fastest for quick answers, Sonnet being the most efficient for everyday tasks, and then Opus being most capable for ambitious work. So that gives you a pretty good description of what they can do. Now let's talk about projects. Projects are your AI workspace. They are self-contained workspaces with their own chat history, their own knowledge base, and their own custom instructions that persist across different chats that you have within that project. And so, or if you have a company, for example, and you have brand guidelines and templates and different financial models that you usually use, those are great things to upload into a project. It will have consistent behavior within that project. So if you have a chat outside of the project, it's going to be following just your regular instructions or the regular things that it does. Everything that you do within a project is self-contained. It's always going to be referencing the documents that you have in that project and the instructions that you have there as well. And it's great for ongoing work. So just the one-off questions that you have, the one-off tasks, just go ahead and have a regular chat. If you have specific things that you're working on, creating a project, as I'm going to show you how to do now, is a great way to do it. So for small businesses, for example, creating a project for legal document reviews, right? So if you're reviewing legal documents all the time as part of your work, you can create a Claude project with what your standard contract templates usually look like, your information about who your clients are and the different projects that you're working on that you want the project to analyze the documents for. And you can have instructions like, every time I upload a new project here, flag the indemnification clauses, the insurance requirements, and payment terms. Right, so it'll follow those specific instructions in there every single time. And let me show you how to set it up. So here on the left, you would just click on projects on your left column there where your chats exist. And as you can see here, I have a couple of different projects. I have a project about my health. So every time I go to the doctor, I have a new lab, I just upload it here to this project. It updates everything about my health and what it knows about me. And then I have a project about my company as well that we can look at. So as you see, this project has many different chats about different things that I've been working on. It has its own memory that is separate from that main memory that I just showed you in the settings. So these are just things that it remembers about this project. And I have custom instructions here as well, where I kind of repeat in there who I am. I repeat in there the thing about not using em dashes. I tell a little bit about who some of my clients and the things that I do are. And the really cool part is that you're essentially creating your own knowledge base of files. So you can see here, I have many different transcripts of the course that I was taking when I was becoming a certified AI consultant. You know, they gave lessons about best cases, best ways to approach clients, best way to do cold calling, best ways to write a proposal. I have transcripts with my career coach and different things that we've talked about in different calls. I have my branding and my brand guidelines, my colors, my logo, the do's and don'ts about my logo, how to place it, how not to place it, what my font is. And so now, every time that I do something for my company within this project, it's all properly branded with my brand colors. It follows these best cases guidelines from all the different chat transcripts that I've uploaded. And so it's giving me consistent results every single time for things that I do for my company, right? But again, you can get much more specific. And if you have specific tasks that you do all the time within your company or your job, and that you want to follow specific instructions every single time, you can also create a project just for that, right? So for me, I don't feel the need for that. I just created one main project for my company. And for me, that's enough. But you can be very granular in the projects that you create as well. Yeah, go ahead. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I would do that. Another thing that you can do, and which I'm going to show you guys at the end, would be create a custom skill for Claude that knows everything about your brand, which is what I have as well. So I have a Claude skill that I created for writing documents that I create. First I ideated with Claude. This is what I like my documents to look like. These are my brand colors. I want my logo on the top left every single time, like on the header of the documents. And now every time I say write a proposal, it accesses those skills, it knows what my brand colors are, it accesses my logo, and all my documents come out looking just the way that I want. So Really, really good to create different projects. You can create a project for personal things as well and different things that you do on a day-to-day basis. And it's, again, the key is having really good instructions about what you want that project to do, and also uploading your files there, samples, and creating your own little knowledge base for yourself. Let's see. I already talked about this. Okay, the next really cool thing that I want to show you inside Claude are artifacts. And artifacts is just when Claude creates something for you. Anything that it creates is essentially an artifact. So that can mean documents, so reports, meeting notes, project plans. That can be writing code. So you could tell it, hey, create me a landing page or, some HTML code, and Claude can actually do that for you. And then you can just copy that code directly, and it will actually display for you what that looks like as an artifact. You can create diagrams, flowcharts, process maps, and interactive tools as well, which we're about to do. So you can create your own custom calculators, your own custom dashboards, your own custom data visualization modules. These are all things that Claude can create for you right there on the spot. And I'm going to show you how. So today, we're going to very quickly create a meeting cost calculator, right? So imagine every single time you or one of your employees just sat through that 1-hour meeting that could have been a 2-line email, right? You want to know, how much did this meeting just cost my company, right? And so Claude can create your own calculator for you. So I have here prompt, create a meeting cost calculator where I can input the number of attendees, their average hourly salary, and the meeting duration. And for an output, I just want you to tell me what that meeting actually costs my company. So let's take a look as Claude actually does that for us. And the way that you do that, so is just going through a regular chat, and we'll tell Claude to create it for us. And where that's going to live, you're going to notice again here on our left panel that there is a little tab called Artifacts. So everything that Claude creates for you, you can access very easily by just going to that Artifact tab and seeing it saved there. So you can, without having to search through all your chats, you can see everything that Claude creates for you. So let's see, where did my meeting calculator go? Oh, let's try again. It's really cool what it can do. So take a second. Yeah. Yeah, I would spend normally a little bit more time on the prompt than this, right? Like give it more detail, give it specifics about your company, why you're actually working on this project, right? What it is that you want to get out of it. And it'll be able to, the more detail that you give it, the better it will build for you. But you can also iterate, right? It'll give you that first response and you can say, hey, edit this or change that. This is not quite what I was looking for. So let's take a look here as it's thinking for a very long time today. Let me see if I can find one that I already built while I was working on that. Okay, so I'm going to show you, I did this actually yesterday at a different workshop, so I'm going to show you, you're going to see it's the exact same prompt. Oh, wait. No, it's not there. All right, so I got, okay, I lost the chat, just a second. Okay, we're going to let this build. It takes a couple minutes and we'll come back to see how it actually turned out, okay? Now, while it's building that calculator for us, I want to show you Claude for Excel and PowerPoint as well. So many of you have probably used Copilot already in Excel and PowerPoint. And surprisingly, even though Copilot is made by Microsoft, Claude does a much better job. So it can analyze complex tabs in your Excel workbooks. It can explain to you how formula works actually across different workbooks. It can debug errors for you, like those reference errors, value, or circular references that you get in Excel all the time. It can debug those for you. My favorite part, right? So I spent years in my corporate job pretending that I knew how to create a pivot table, right? And every time I had to ask a coworker to do it for me, and I was like hiding it from my boss. Well, guess what? I never learned, and I didn't need to, because now Claude can do it for me. right? In PowerPoint, it can reformat your presentations for you, so you don't have to go through slide by slide saying, hey, reformat, like left align everything or make sure things are centered. PowerPoint will do that for you. If you have a template for PowerPoint presentations that you use all the time, you can upload your template and then just talk to Claude and say, fill in this template for me with this information. And so let me just show you where it actually lives. So if you have PowerPoint, yeah, so the same place where Copilot lives, Claude lives right there, and you can download it, but you just quickly Google Microsoft Excel or PowerPoint plugin. You'll see the link and you can download it from there. And then from right here, you can directly start a chat with Claude and it'll create the entire PowerPoint for you or analyze your Excel or whatever it is that you needed to do. And it does a really, really great job. So let's see how our meeting there you go. So this is our meeting calculator that Claude created for me as an artifact. So this meeting had, okay, let's see. This meeting had 7 attendees. Their average hourly salary is $50 an hour, and it lasted 1 hour. So that meeting just cost our company $400, that 1 hour meeting, right? And it costs $7 per minute. And annually, if we're running meetings like that, it would cost the company $20,000. So if it is a recurring meeting. So, and it even went beyond, I didn't ask, but for that money, you could buy 27 Netflix subscriptions, right? Thanks, Claude. So again, I could go back and, change some of the prompt. Hey, add this is not correct, and it will edit it for us. But again, the really cool thing is that it builds it for you right there in the chat. I'm trying to see. So this is to show you guys, I was working with a client yesterday, and I asked, hey, my client's David Sidden's group. And so I said, hey, build a landing page for this company. And Claude built this amazing looking web page for me right then and there that I could then just, with one click, publish directly to GitHub or copy the code into WordPress. And as you can see, it even includes an AI chat here for, what my client was looking for. So again, I just did that with one prompt. Claude created the entire web page for me, and I can just copy that code into GitHub, WordPress, or whatever you're using, right? And again, I could just go back and prompt Claude and say, hey, change the colors, change this text here, I don't like that. And so it's really, really impressive, especially for those of us that have small businesses, right? If you're launching a campaign or something like that, or a contest or an event like this, you can now very quickly just create your own web page for that and announce it within a second. No longer need to spend hundreds of dollars in a marketing agency. Sorry if anybody is in a marketing agency, but that's the truth. And so really, really powerful features. And again, that would just live here. I would then just tell Claude, save this as an artifact, and I could access here in my artifacts tab all the time. Yes, you had a question. It's very similar. Lovable is doing some of the same things for you. In fact, there is a Lovable connector in Claude. So you could just do everything in Claude and they push it to Lovable and it would push it there for you as well. But yeah, very similar, but Claude can do other things as well, as I was saying, beyond just the websites. It can create an app, which Lovable can also do, but documents, work charts, flow charts, etc. So, but yeah, Lovable is an awesome tool for sure. All right, so let's talk about your connectors. This is where Claude meets all the different tools that you use every day. So I'm going to show you some of them here, but for example, Claude can connect directly to Canva. So if you use Canva all the time to create graphics and you have some templates, for example, already saved in there, you can just from Claude tell it, use my such and such template to create a flyer for this event. Or if you have your brand guidelines already in there as well, right? You do it using my brand. Claude will connect to your Canva account and directly create those for you. So you don't even have to go to canva.com anymore. HubSpot and other CRMs, it'll connect directly as well. So to keep track of your leads and your different clients. Miro, for those of you that use Miro for your projects and your team projects, you don't even need to go to Miro.com anymore. Claude can access Miro and add content to those Miro boards for you. If you use Notion, if you use Gamma, which is this tool here that I'm using for the presentation, if you use Asana, Salesforce, Outlook, Gmail, Google Drive, Claude can access all of these things directly and give you both pull information from them and also edit information there if you give it access to. And the way that you would do that would be, again, going to your settings. You're going to see that there is a setting here called connectors. And these are the ones that I'm using. As you can see, I use GitHub, I use Apollo, which is a lead enrichment tool, Canva, Gamma. I have it connected to my Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Drive, my HubSpot, my QuickBooks. So now I don't even go to QuickBooks anymore. I just tell Claude, generate this invoice for this client for me, and it does it, right? Make.com if you're using automations, Miro, Notion, Supabase, and there are many, many more. So once you click on Browse Connectors, you're going to see that there's an endless list of companies that are working directly with Claude now. So Monday.com, HubSpot, as I mentioned, Figma, Zoom, so you can pull your meeting recaps and your transcripts directly from Zoom as well if you're using that. Box, if that's where you're maintaining your files. Again, as you can see, is a long list of tools here that it can connect directly. And you just, again, through the Claude chat, you can control all those tools and have Claude take action for you. So very, very cool. Make sure that you look through your connectors and connect to the tools that you're using. And it'll really, really advance your productivity as well. Now, I want to tell you about research mode. For those of you that have been using ChatGPT, you've probably seen the deep research mode there, and I hope you've used it. What it means is Claude will be running, once you ask it to do research, it'll run multiple research agents for you that build on one another and automatically exploring different angles, hundreds of different sources, and then synthesizing everything for you into a sourced and academic level report. And so this is not for the quick answer. Once you enter that prompt, it is going to take between 5 to 15 minutes, depending on the prompts that you give it, but it will search again through multiple hundreds usually of sources. And so when would you use that? Whenever you're doing competitive analysis or market research, if you're investigating a new vendor to work with, or maybe somebody to speak at one of your events, when you're preparing background for a meeting with one of your clients, I do this all the time. As soon as a new lead hits my inbox, the first thing I do is run a deep research and find out everything about them and their company. And any kind of question that you may have that needs thorough and multi-source analysis. So I'm going to run a quick example here. It's going to be a little hard for you guys to read it, but the example that I came up with is, hey, I need a comprehensive market research on top event speakers, influencers, and thought leaders in the Miami area who are relevant to an audience of female entrepreneurs, event planners, and social media content creators. So in this case, I have an event coming up and I need speakers, right? So specifically, what I want to know is, who are the most booked and sought out event speakers for Miami professional women's events? Who are the top Miami-based Instagram and LinkedIn influencers for entrepreneurship, wellness, lifestyle, and women in business spaces? What are the most active and well-attended professional networking event communities in Miami? What are the topics that are currently generating the most engagement at these events? And are there any rising or emerging voices in the Miami entrepreneurship and influencer space who are gaining traction but are still a little bit unknown that I could highlight? So I'm telling you to search Instagram, LinkedIn, Eventbrite, Luma, and Miami-specific media like the Miami New Times, Voyage MIA, and World Red Eye. So I'm going to run this research, and in about 10 to 15 minutes, we're going to find out maybe who the Brickwaves are going to be inviting to their next event, right? We'll see. So to show you how that looks like, you would start a new chat. Right here on the plus sign, you would select research. And then I'm just going to paste my prompt. Usually, Claude is going to come back with a few more questions before it starts the research. So there you go. The purpose of the research, it wants to know what it is. I'm going to say that it's prospecting for a new event. How deep on the influencer tier? So I want mid-tier. Okay. And any disqualifiers I should filter out. I'm just going to say no. So once I answer those questions, it's going to ask me which of my connectors that I have enabled it's allowed to use. So again, Claude, very privacy focused, right? It's always pretty much always going to ask you first before it accesses your tools and your information. So I'm going to say, yeah, go ahead and use everything I have. And we'll come back to this in about 5 to 10 minutes, and we're going to see how it's doing. But you're going to see that it's going to be researching hundreds of sources in order to find these qualified speakers for our next event. Okay, now, the tool that everybody's talking about lately that is hot and that we're probably going to be using later today is Claude Cowork. Now, this is where the magic really begins to happen. Once you connect Cowork with all of those connectors and the proper settings and everything that I just told you about, where chat is more of a conversation, Cowork is a true working session. So Cowork transforms Claude from a conversational partner into an active executor. You describe your task, and Claude will plan it and execute it directly on your computer, interacting with your local environment. So you can point Claude to a specific folder on your computer, for example, you know, that messy folder that you're always saying that you're going to get to one day and clean up and organize. Now you can just point Claude to that folder and say, organize this folder for me based on these requirements, and Claude will work on that folder for you and reorganize it. So executing tasks directly on your computer, it can take over your entire computer. So even for tools that it doesn't have connectors directly, it can access it through your Chrome browser and just take over your mouse. You see it moving around, and it's really, really cool. And it returns finished deliverables, formatted spreadsheets, memos, reports, organized folders, you name it. So, and the cool thing about it is it can actually also run on a fixed schedule. So if let's say that you wanted to, one of the things that I have it do for me every morning is I have it check my last 48 hours of all my emails, my inbox, and my sent folder. I have it match against the documents in my Google Drive, so meeting transcripts that I had on Google Meets, for example, and I have it look through my calendar. And then every morning when I wake up and I get to my computer, I have my email summary of, hey, this is what is still pending your reply. You emailed these people yesterday, they didn't get back to you yet, it's time for you to follow up. This other thing is still pending from 2 or 3 days ago, and this that I told you about yesterday looks like it's been resolved. So I have my day ready to go for me with my follow-up tasks, as well as my urgent and pending tasks. So what can Claude Cowork actually do? If it's repetitive, messy, or takes too long, it's a perfect task for Claude Cowork. So as I already mentioned, file organization, so tidying up your messy downloads or any folder by renaming files, sorting them, deleting duplicates. Data reporting, so let's say you have a dashboard for your job that you need to access to and analyze every morning. Well, Claude can now take over your computer for you, look through your dashboard and your different statuses and give you a report into your email. Draft content. As I mentioned, it can set up recurring workflow, so scheduling tasks like your morning email scans, looking at your Slack messages for you in the morning. So if you get your Slack every morning or your Teams and there's a ton of messages, it can look through your messages for you and tell you what's relevant and what you can ignore, which is usually like 90% of it, right? And as I mentioned, it integrates with your tools. So Chrome, Google Drive, Gmail, Slack, Zoom, etc. And you can set it on a scheduled text. So tell Claude once, it handles it from there every single day. So as a couple of examples of things that I use Claude Cowork for myself. So first things first, on the left bar, you see that there's some options here. Number one is chat. And then if I switch over, that's Cowork. And then if I switch over one more, that's called code, which we're not going to get into today, but it's for coding. right? So if I click on Claude Cowork, you can see here that I have 2 scheduled tasks that I run every single morning. So number 1 is my daily email summary. It runs through my emails, the exact example that I just gave, right, every single morning, and goes through all my Google Drive and my schedule. The other one that I have is a lead generation scheduled task that I run every morning. So I told Claude specific types of businesses that I usually work with and the area. So I gave it a really broad area of an entire Miami-Dade. And every single morning, it is digging through LinkedIn and Google and other public sources and finding me the emails of those HR managers or of the actual company owners and adding them to my list of leads that I then have an automated email sending out and promoting my business every single morning, right? So lead generation every single day being done for me, cold emails being sent every single day for me, and I don't have to do anything. I just did this once and I scheduled it Monday through Friday, right? That was a question, yeah. Yeah, so where is right here? So on the scheduled tasks, you'll be able to see, yeah, so I can tell you here the frequency. So you can add custom or you can say, hey, do this every hour. So I have a client that he gets so many spam emails that he has Claude Cowork running for him every single hour, deleting the spam and also clicking unsubscribe on those emails so that hopefully over time it reduces the number of spam emails that he gets, right? Yeah, so what we did was, so for the emails that are from legit companies like a Macy's or, whatever, Bay Harbor Club, right? The ones that are legit, it actually clicks through the unsubscribe. The ones that look shady, it just deletes. So these are all things that you put in the instructions, right? So you can set it daily, weekly, only on weekdays. So my email thing, I just have it running Monday through Friday, every day at 8:30 in the morning. Another cool thing on my personal life that I think is really cool, that my husband actually designed this one. So the closest store that we have to our place whenever we need something quick is a CVS, right? And so we end up going there all the time, but they're super expensive, right? You guys know that CVS is really overpriced. And they run on coupons. Like if you have the CVS app, there's millions of coupons there. So now, every time before we're about to run to the store, we have a Claude Cowork task that takes over our computer, goes to cvs.com, and clips every single coupon that's available. Yeah, this is my sister here. You guys say hi. So she's laughing because she knows that my husband does all these crazy co-work tasks. Yeah, he's so proud. So yeah, so now every single time by the time I get to the CVS store to grab a Coke or whatever we're grabbing, right? We have every single coupon that they have available clipped already to our account, so we're saving money automatically, right? Yeah, yeah, there you go. For all the different stores, right? Yeah, for all the different stores. Yeah. And I have a paid Apollo account. Another way that I've been using to the connectors. So another way that I've been using Cowork. So there's the Emerge Tech Conference here in Miami Beach next week, and I'm one of the speakers. But they don't give us like a lot of information on the attendees and other sponsors. There is a portal, right, where you can see the list of sponsors, but there's not contact information there. And I want to generate leads, right? That's why I'm being a speaker there. And so what I'm having Claude Cowork do, and it's taking a while, it's taking actually a few days, is take over my computer, visit the conference website, scrape the list of 400 sponsors or whatever it is, and then click on the information, click through to each one, see what information they have there, find out for me who is actually attending that conference, and then scraping the internet and Apollo and all that to find me those people's emails so that I can reach out and say, hey, I'm also going to the conference. Would you like to chat? Let's meet and do my networking thing, right? So you can begin to let your imagination run wild on all the different things that Cowork can do. Another thing that my husband does as well is he has this whole Cowork thing that analyzes his stock portfolio for him every single week. So he's uploading his statements from his 401k, his IRA, his brokerage account or whatever. and it's analyzing everything through, and it's saying, hey, you have duplicate stocks here, you should move this stock to this account. It's probably time to sell this one, or instead of this ETF, why don't you consider this one that has a lower expense ratio? And so really optimizing our financial life, not just through coupons, but through investments as well, right? So many, many different things that Claude Cowork can do for you. And finally, let's talk about Claude Skills. So skills are specialized capabilities that let Claude create and modify real files that you can download and share. So there are built-in skills like creating Excel spreadsheets, Word documents, presentations, and PDFs, but you can create your own custom skills as well. So the main thing that I want you to remember is that if it's something that you are doing all the time, it's worth creating a skill out of it, right? For the one-off thing, you can just do it one-off. If you're doing something all the time, like I do, for example, writing proposals or writing agreements for my clients, once I created a proposal that I was really, really happy with, I just told Claude, make this a skill. And now every single proposal that I write comes out exactly the same. So I have 3 different examples that we can try here later this afternoon, or if you want to try it with me right now if you have your computer. So number 1 would be the one that I was mentioning before, an inbox triage skill. So basically what you're going to say to Claude is exactly what I have here. Claude, I want you to scan my email, the last 24 hours of my email, so my inbox and my sent, categorize them by urgency, identify pending items, and provide a one-line summary for each one. And then you're going to tell it, draft an email summary for me directly in Gmail, and it can be scheduled to run every single morning. So now once Claude does that really well for you, you can just say, great. It's that easy. You're going to say, great, turn this into a skill. And Claude will give you a skill that you're just going to click install. And the best part is, once you create a skill that you think is really cool and your friends or your coworkers can also use, you can actually share that skill with your friends as well. A second example would be a meeting prep brief. So you're going to be telling Claude, hey Claude, connect to my Google Calendar, read through my upcoming meetings, then pull all the related emails from my Gmail and look through my Google documents for meeting transcripts that I've had about this client and generate for me a 1-page brief outlining the attendees, previous discussions that we've had, unresolved topics that we need to address, and any key points to know and ask. So again, now every time that you're about to have a meeting, you can tell Claude, run your meeting skill, and it'll do this for you automatically. You don't have to repeat yourself. And it'll give you that meeting prep so you're prepared for every single meeting that you go into. And then as a third example, and I'm gonna actually enter one of these and show you how to create it. So your end of the week intelligence report. So this is essentially your automated chief of staff, right? Telling Claude to scan your entire activity for that week, including your meetings, your emails, your docs across your Gmail, calendar, and Google Drive. And then generate for me and you can also add there, like, hey, add Slack to this or Teams or whatever other tool you use as well. And then generate for me a structured report highlighting the decisions that I've made this week, any open loops that I still need to address next week, any reciprocal action items that I need to follow up on, and give me a suggested priority list for next week. So imagine this is something that you can have run for you at the end of your day every single Friday, and you have a full recap of your entire week and a plan for you to go into next week as well. So let's go ahead and quickly create the meeting prep, the meeting prep skill. I'm gonna copy this, and we're just gonna go into a chat, and I'm gonna say, create this as a skill. It's really that easy. Suspense. It's so quiet. So it's loading. You can see here it's telling me that it's loading its skill creating skill, which comes pre-installed with Claude. Everybody has that. So it's going to ask me a single question. What's the default scope when I ask for a brief? And I'm going to say that I wanted to do that for, it's asking me, do you want it just for your next upcoming meeting? Do you want it for all the meetings you have that day? Or do you want it to specify each time? Or is it for tomorrow? So I'm going to say, this is for my next meeting. I wanted to do this every time that I tell it for my next upcoming meeting. And for the output, it says, do you want the output as just a chat response? Or do you want a branded worded doc? And it's asking me this because I have a skill for my brand already created, right? So it could give this to me as a branded document, which I'm going to do. And how deep should Claude dig for context? So just look through my documents and my emails for the past 30 days, 90 days, or 6 months. I'm just going to say 30 days. What sources? So pull my Gmail threads, pull my Google Docs, pull my Google Calendar, and look for previous meetings with those same attendees. So once you've clarified that, it will hopefully start working. Yeah, it's thinking. Okay, so it's running that command. It's asking me for permission. Can I actually do this and create this skill? Again, Claude is very into consent, right? We like that. So I'm gonna allow it. And then it's telling me, here's what it's doing. It's creating that skill for me. Anybody have any questions in the meantime while we wait for this to work? A lot. Oh, okay. Okay, well, good. I'm glad. Yeah, yes-ish. Not by default on Claude, but there is a way to do it. I can work with you on that. But yeah, it's a little hard because you have to create an MCP connector and you have to go through a whole backend. Claude gets confused, but it's possible. Yeah, so most people are just, well, so the good thing is if you have your work email on Outlook and your personal on Gmail or whatever, you can do both, right? But if you have both on Gmail and both on Outlook, then it becomes a little bit hard. Yeah. Through a connect. Okay, so I can send me an email. I have an Outlook connector that I created because it keeps going off of the connectors. Some days I look, it's there. Some days I look, it's not. I think they have some kind of tip with Microsoft. And so, but if you email me, I can send you the one that I have. But is it for your personal email or for work? Okay, so the only thing with that is that whoever manages your Microsoft account is going to have to authorize it, like the IT or whatever. That's where it gets a little iffy, right? Okay, so you can see here, Claude finished creating that skill for me. It's telling me what it does. How do I trigger this skill? When you say things like prep me for my next meeting or brief me on my next call, this skill pulls up your Google Calendar events, gather context from Gmail threads with attendees, blah, 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 and will give you a meeting snapshot, attendees table, purpose, recent content, unresolved items, key points to lead with, and optional watch out. So now I have to say is prep me for my next meeting. And then it's telling me how to install it, and then it's giving me some warnings. Depends on your Google Calendar, Gmail, and Google Drive connectors being authenticated, so that's okay, they already are. It pairs with my existing document creator skill and my Elevate AI brand skill. So now I'm doing something extra, it's connecting skills together so that it will create the documents just the way that I like them and with my brands. And then it default is your next meeting in a 30-day context. So I have multiple meetings a day, so that's okay. And then as you can see here, I can simply click save skill. I'm not going to do it because I already have something. Or I can actually see where it is in my folder so that I can send it to Anna or with one of my coworkers and share with them directly. if it's something that I created that's really, really cool. And like I said, the best part is that anytime that you do something often, when you get a good result, that's good enough. You can stop right there and say, create this as a skill, you know? And so you don't have to be technically savvy or advanced. You just have to know that the output that you're getting is something that you want to be consistent with. And you literally just say, create skill, and then you click save, and it's automatically created. So to finish us off here, as I mentioned, other ways to access Claude. So I highly recommend the Claude desktop app. Download it. On the web, you're not going to be able to access Claude Cowork, for example. And so right there is a reason to download it. Claude for Chrome. So there is as you can see, I have right here, my Claude for Chrome connection. And that's actually what enables Claude to take over my Chrome and go to the CVS website to clip those coupons for me. Claude in Slack, if your team is using Slack. And then you're going to notice if you have the Claude mobile app on your phone, there is a mode called Claude Dispatch. And that's because you can't access Claude Cowork and Claude Code from your phone because it depends on your computer, but you can send tasks to your coworker and to your code from your phone from that dispatch. And if your computer is on and running, it'll run it for you. So your computer obviously has to be on for that to work. So some key takeaways for us here today. As you hopefully saw today, Claude is way more than a chatbot. It can do so much for you. Upload freely, right? That 200,000 token context means full contracts, reports, financial models can be analyzed. Set up those projects for yourself and set up the knowledge base and the proper instructions on how you want it to work. Iterate always. Think of Claude as your very smart coworker, or maybe better yet, think of Claude as your very smart junior coworker or somebody that was recently hired and that you need to give specific instructions to, right? If you hire someone new, an intern, you would ask them, right? Like, do you have all the information that you need? Can I give you anything more for you to complete this project well for me? So treat it like that as a thought partner and coworker. Extend Claude by using those skills and connectors to bring it into your favorite tools. And remember that if you're on that business plan, your data is private. If you're not on a business plan, go into your settings and turn off the model settings because we're not here to do charity work for Anthropic, right? The more that you use it, the more value that you find, and practice is everything. Once you start doing those co-work things, like your imagination is going to run wild with all different things that it can do for you. So thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. I hope that it was useful for you. If you have a second, I would really appreciate if you enjoyed our workshop, that you scan this QR code and leave me a quick review on Google Maps. It really makes a huge difference for my business. That's how people get to find me when they search for me in Claude or in ChatGPT. That's how it can see that I'm a credible business. And so even if you don't write anything, a quick 5-star review like really, really goes a long way. And I appreciate it, and I hope to see you soon. And come chat if you have any questions.